Bond stands alone.
17 seconds from game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead.
Washington outside left. Roethlisberger has time. Throws to the back of the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown by Holmes.
Minute remaining. And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up.
It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Taproom Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Stacks on Stacks. Lads, joined with my man, Swerving Irving, Washington. How we doing tonight? Is it still raining out there?
Yeah, it's been off and on all day, but I think it's supposed to really start raining tomorrow and the day after.
Damn. Atmospheric river going on in California, man. Crazy shit.
We're finally having some winter weather. We ain't had it in a while.
For real. Not raining out here in Vegas, but it's supposed to rain a little bit tomorrow. It's been hella overcast though, which is crazy, but I liked it. It reminds me of being back in Seattle, so I'll take it a little bit. Welcome everybody to the show. We are being brought to you by Tavour. Make sure to go to Tavour.com or download the Tavour app straight to your mobile device. Use promo code TAPROOM for $10 off your first purchase of $25 or more. That's craft beer delivered straight to your front door. You don't even have to leave your house. What a noble, beautiful concept. With that being said, this is the College Football National Championship preview show. We started in July. We previewed the major conferences and a couple mid-major conferences. We did a show every single week previewing, highlighting games, breaking them down, handicapping them. And now we are here, Irv. The final game, the last game of the season, TCU versus Georgia. Georgia opened as a 14-point favorite. It quickly got bet down to 13.5. It is now at 12.5. So we're seeing a lot of money come in on TCU early on. What do you think about this game, man? This is being played, obviously, in your backyard, SoFi Stadium, Los Angeles, California.
Yeah, right up the street from me, right up the 405. Honestly, I think if TCU played the way they did against Michigan, first of all, stifling Georgia's run game was going to be objective number one. They got to limit those tight ends. Well, Washington might not play because I think he went out with an ankle injury.
He's questionable.
He's questionable, so he might not play. But you still got to deal with Brock Bowers. And TCU did a good job, man. They surprised me. They matched up physically with Michigan, and they're probably one of the most physical teams in the NCAA. Country. And if they can match up physically with Michigan and stifle them, and people got to remember, they had an 18-point lead at one time before some calls didn't go their way, and Michigan started making some plays. The officiating in that game was pretty bad, though. Like, that first Michigan touchdown that got taken away, that should have been a touchdown. I don't see how you overturn that. But at the end of the day, TCU won. They deserved it. Georgia's going to have their hands full because, like we said, they got exposed versus LSU. What's that backup quarterback name?
For LSU?
Right? Yeah, because remember, Daniels got hurt. Then the backup came in and was carving them up.
I forget his name, dude. His name's I forget his name off the top of my head, but yeah.
Yeah, he got a long-ass last name. But basically, he came in total they threw for over 500 yards.
Yep. Said
that Ohio State was going to push them to their limit. And Ohio State should be playing for a national championship, but that's for special. It is 3 phases of the game, and special teams let them down bad. And I'm not really feeling those 2 play calls after CJ scrambled for that big first down and got him in the field goal range.
Yep.
The next 2 play calls was very questionable in my book, but that's neither here nor there. So I'm gonna be honest, Georgia is pretty damn lucky to be in the championship, but
Agreed.
My money is on TCU, especially if Miller plays, and that just adds a different dimension to their offense because they was missing him as far as the run game, but that backup did his thing.
Yeah.
And with TCU, you got to deal with Quentin Johnston, and that dude is a monster. We all know that Marvin Harrison Jr. will probably be he's the number one receiver hands down next year. But if he was coming out this year, it'll probably be a 1A, 1B situation with him and Quentin Johnston because Quentin Johnston proved that he's a dog. He's 6'4", 6'5". He's fast as hell for his size, and he runs damn good routes. So somebody's gonna get them a real good receiver
Yeah, he's a
come
big
April.
dude. I agree with the matching the physicality. I mean, that was the one thing that, kind of would turn me away from TCU. I ended up betting TCU, but I really bet TCU just for the vibes, dude. Like it wasn't like I was very confident in the play at all. You know what I mean? But then after watching the game, I was like, wow, dude, like they're actually holding their own and they're doing their damn thing, dude. And like you got to tip your cap sometimes. Now I think that Georgia has much better athletes than Michigan, but I think Michigan is definitely a tougher more physical team. Stetson Bennett, he threw for like 398 yards last game, but that's like the first time he's ever done that ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but a lot of that was because they was behind. They was trailing that whole game, so they wasn't really going to be running the ball like that.
And 70 of it was on one play to a wide open receiver.
To a wide open receiver on a blown coverage.
Yep.
So I think I don't know, man. We both Stetson Bennett is mid as they come.
Yep.
He's just surrounded by great talent, a great offensive line, and a good defense. A lot of people thought this was a great defense or just a good defense. They can be had. TCU has the athletes and the weapons to do it. And as you can see, Georgia struggled when CJ used his legs and extended plays and still pushed the ball downfield. A lot of those touchdowns were an open man, and he's made a good throw and they caught it. Max Duggan could do the same thing, and he's more comfortable with his legs. So
and he's more physical too, more physical runner.
Yeah, so I think Georgia definitely has to prepare for that as well. I think didn't they have some injuries on defense too, Georgia? I think one of the corners went out. Michael Williams, I think he dinged up his ankle.
I know the big one is Washington though.
Yeah, the big one is Washington because if they don't have him, that completely changes their running scheme as far as they blocking, they pull in and all that because they use him like an extra tackle for the most part because he is the size of
the only players I see on the injury report that weren't there previously before the playoff game is Green, their offensive lineman, and then Gilbert, one of their other tight ends, and then Washington. Everybody else has been on the injury report or at least hasn't played in a minute. Nolan Smith, Jackson.
Well, the safety must have just got dinged up and came back in the game, but that was after that hit though. So
yeah, and Keandre Miller, they're saying he's questionable. He did try to come back in that game, but he wasn't very effective, and they pulled him.
If he's not 80 to 90%, then just let the backup do his thing because I think he came in and had over 100 yards rushing. So
yeah, dude, he was excellent, but he also had a pretty big fumble too.
Yeah, he can't have that. Now Miller wouldn't have did that, so that's another thing we got to factor that in too.
It almost cost him. Yeah, man, I took TCU plus 14 when it first opened because I just thought that was too many points, especially after watching Ohio State and LSU the previous game kind of carve up Georgia.
Yeah, that was disrespectful.
We talked about it last show. We said, Georgia, they've shown their flaws have been shown, you know what I mean? And we both expected Ohio State to exploit them. Ohio State covered, and like you said, they probably should have won that game. Georgia got very lucky to get out of there with a W. And with that being said, I just think a double-digit score to TCU is pretty fucking disrespectful at this point. And the market just continues to shit on TCU like they shouldn't be here, and like we talked about it throughout the year. You know, like they were pretty lucky to be where they were throughout the year. I mean, they're basically the Minnesota Vikings of college football.
But at the end of the year, they proved why they were in the position they was in.
Yep, and this is just being a dog like this, a huge 12.5. We haven't seen this in a national championship here yet. And when this kind of thing happens, it's like, it's almost like the whole country, everybody, not the whole country, but everybody doubts you. Nobody expects you to be here, and you're playing with house money, dude. Because if you lose, okay, we lost. Nobody expected us to win anyways. You know what I mean? And
Facts.
I think that's the most dangerous opponent to have because everybody expects Georgia to win. Everybody expected Georgia to beat Ohio State. Everybody expected Georgia to win the national championship. So if they lose, you know, there's a lot of pressure on them to win because everybody expects them to win. So I think that can benefit TCU. Now, the thing that worries me about TCU on the other side,
The turnovers.
turnovers, and can they efficiently run the ball enough to keep Georgia's defense honest to where they can get big explosive plays off play action and RPO action?
I think they can because honestly, Ohio State didn't run the ball that much against Georgia.
They only ran for 112 yards, and a lot of it was CJ Stroud.
Exactly. So TCU has a running quarterback, and if Miller is somewhat healthy, they have pretty much a two-headed monster at running back. And they can even go 3 deep at running back if need be.
Yeah.
So when you factor in Duggan doesn't have CJ's arm talent. It's not close, but he is a more than capable passer. What him
Yep.
is though, he can't just lose his accuracy because he went 14 for 29 against Michigan. That's 50%. He has to do better than that against
Yep.
Georgia, especially throwing the ball deep, which is supposed to be his specialty. He did miss some deep shots in that game that could have completely changed the game when they were up and not even it wouldn't have been as close as it was at the end. I think that is one thing to keep an eye on too. And just you gotta respect how physical TCU is, man. I didn't think they could hold up physically against Michigan, and they did. So that pretty much means they're going to do the same thing to Georgia. And you got to get a defense some credit too. They disguise coverage as well. They blitz well, and they were making. I didn't see too many missed tackles from from
They didn't.
TCU's defense. So
And they
and that
played
D
the
line,
run really well against Michigan.
yeah, Michigan only rushed for. Edwards had a 60-something yard run the first play of the game,
And aside
and
from
he
that,
and he ended up with 23 carries for 119 yards. So those other 24 carries he only got.
yeah, I mean they were stuffing the run, dude, and
Yeah.
they were basically. I think they're gonna do the same thing to Stetson Bennett that they did to McCarthy.
Yeah, they're gonna make him beat him. He's
Yep.
gonna make you beat TCU is gonna make the quarterback beat them with his arm.
Yep.
They're not gonna give up big plays in the running game to the quarterback.
They're gonna stack the box all fucking night, dude, and they're gonna say, okay, we'll give you one-on-one coverage on the outside. You have to beat us.
Yeah, because those safeties are pretty damn good in coverage. So Brock Bowers won't be a walk in the park, but he is a damn good tight end.
Best in the country, probably. But
I don't really care for Utah, but Dawson Kincaid should have won the Mackey Award. That dude was a monster.
yeah, he had a hell of a good year. So did Mitch Meyer.
Yeah, Michael Mayer. Yeah.
He's hella good. What do you think about the total at 63?
Oh, it's definitely going over.
You think so?
Yeah, because TCU put 51 up on Michigan, and Michigan were a better defense than Georgia.
By the numbers, yeah, but
By the numbers, they don't have the pass rushers that Georgia has, and probably not the D line, but that secondary from Georgia can be had. It's not even funny no more.
yep, their secondary is definitely the weakness of their team.
And that offense is going to have to keep up with TCU's offense. So I definitely see this game going over. I could see the final score being 41-38. Shit, it could be like the Michigan game, 51-45.
I can also see this game being like 21-14, dude.
Nah, it's not going because the defense is.
It's similar to Texas though, because Texas has a lot of similar attributes athletically to Georgia, to the Georgia team, right? They have a great D line, and that game was, and they have good athletic talent on offense, and that game was like what 10-7 at the end, 13-3 or whatever, 13-7 was the final score.
Nah, this gonna be a shootout,
If it's a shootout, that benefits TCU for sure.
and that's why I think TCU can pull the upset because it's gonna be a shootout.
Man, that would be the biggest upset. 5,000 to 1 or plus 5,000 to open the year to win the national championship. Plus 5,000, dog.
Damn, if somebody got that at the beginning of the year, sheesh.
Probably only a TCU fan
Yeah, only a TCU fan
did that.
So that's basically what 500 to 1,
50 to 1.
50 to 1. Okay, so
Yeah, it's
$20 one.
actually no, it is five. It was like 500 to 1. It was ridiculous, dude. They had they weren't even ranked to enter the season. They weren't even projected to win their conference.
$20 win you 10,000. We're gonna see a crazy bet that pops up on FanDuel. Somebody puts some money on TCU to win the national championship.
I think the one interesting thing about this game so far, as far as the market's concerned, is we've seen the money line kind of stay the same, even though the it's gone from 14 to 12.5. The money line hasn't really moved that much.
Yeah, that means
That tells me a lot of people are betting Georgia money line.
Yeah, and then the whales are coming in on TCU because Mattress Mac just put 1.5 million on them.
I don't like that. I don't like betting with Mattress Mac.
And TCU is not in Houston, so he has some faith, some Texas pride, I see.
Yeah, I mean, why not, dude? You know what I mean? He's got the money. He hedges it with his business, right? So if TCU wins, the people that buy furniture don't have to fucking pay it back or whatever. Or if they lose, then they got to finish paying it. So either way, he wins, you know.
Oh, damn, that's in Dallas. Well, Fort Worth, so that's Dallas area.
Yeah, but he's in Houston, so but it's still close by, nearby.
No, they're not nearby. They're actually 4 or 5 hours apart.
And in terms of Texas, they're nearby. A lot of nothing in Texas.
That's definitely true.
A lot of nothing out there.
But yeah, I think TCU. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna ride with TCU. I think they cover and they could definitely win outright.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where this line is going to close out. I do think that a lot of the public, because a lot, like the people that are betting right now are more.
They're gonna go with Georgia.
Well, no, the people that are betting like right now that bet it when the line opened to now, basically, you know, those are people that really do this, right? They follow the sport, they know what they're doing. Now you're gonna get the recreational bettors are gonna come in this weekend. They're all gonna hammer the shit out of Georgia. I do expect this line to move back up probably to 13 and a half closing. So
it closes at 15.
I don't think it would close that high. I don't think it closes higher than what it opened at because it got bet down.
Yeah, it'll probably close at 13 and a half.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of people after they lose bets on NFL on Sunday, they're going to be like, oh, I got to win my money back. I'm going to take Georgia minus 12 and a half. And there's going to be a shit ton of those motherfuckers that are going to do that. And then it's going to push back up to 13, maybe close 13 and a half, probably close 13. So I wouldn't bet TCU with 12 and a half is what I'm saying. You know, if you missed out on the 14, you missed out on 13 and a half, I would wait till Sunday night and then take TCU because this line will move or Monday morning or Monday afternoon. You know what I mean? The total I'm not really sold on, dude. I honestly lean the under 63. I just think 63 is a lot. But you're right, dude. This very well could be a shootout. I don't know, dude. 63 is just a lot.
Yeah, 62.5 was a lot for Georgia and Ohio State.
Yeah, it's just it was, dude. I mean, it really was. Who thought that game was gonna go over?
I did.
All right, so dating back to the BCS National Championship game, 3 of the 4 previous double-digit underdogs have covered ATS, with 2 of those dogs winning outright. So Florida State was 11-point favorites versus Auburn. Florida State won 34-31 that game. That was in 2014. In 2013, Alabama was 10-point favorites over Notre Dame, and they beat the fucking shit out of them, 42-14. In 2003, Miami, 11.5-point favorites over Ohio State. If you remember, that was the overtime game. Ohio State won that one 31-24.
Miami got screwed that game.
Yeah. And then in 2001, Florida State was 10.5-point dogs to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma won 13-2 that game. Outright winners have covered against the spread in 21 of 24 previous title games. So that goes for dogs too. So obviously, if a dog covers, they win. Damn. Since the start of the 4-team college football playoff in 2014, 6 of the 8 national championship games have gone over the total. So maybe going over is good.
And you think that over under 63, that just means the game gets into the 30s, upper. I mean, one team gets into the 30s, the other team gets into the high 20s.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that happen in this game.
Following a 6-year run of betting underdogs covering the spread, favorites have won and covered each of the last 3 years. Damn, I thought Georgia was a dog last year.
Against Alabama?
Yeah, because remember Bama beat them in the SEC championship game?
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
I thought they were a dog. Maybe they were just a slight favorite.
Yeah, it probably was a 2 or 3 point favorite.
Yeah, I remember the final line was like 2.5. I just don't remember if Georgia was a favorite or if Alabama was a favorite. Yeah, I mean, I just think this is too many points. So dating back to 1998, only 4 teams have been favored by double digits in the national championship game, and only 1 has covered against the spread. Only 1.
Damn, I know Oklahoma was a 6 or 7 point favorite versus USC, right?
Yeah, they were a favorite against USC, and USC beat the fucking shit out of them.
Yeah, I know they got.
And then the USC Texas game, I think USC was only a 3.5-point favorite.
That's the one that got away.
Yep. I definitely like TCU in this spot, though.
Yeah, give me TCU. I think they win it, honestly.
Bro, if they win, I threw a little something on the money line at plus 370, but I'm not banking on it, dude.
Yeah, don't bank on it, but I think it happens.
I hope so. All right, I want to talk about some recruiting too.
Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, I want to mention that we have to bring up Bobby Petrino signs on as offensive coordinator of UNLV, and then he was there for a month. Today, he signs with Texas A&M to be their offensive coordinator and play caller.
So he pulled a Cliff Kingsbury.
Pretty much. I was telling people on Twitter today, I said, hey, it's all good. Cliff Kingsbury will be available in a week or two to be offensive coordinator. So I think it's tough for UNLV, first of all, because, you know, I thought that was a great hire.
Yeah, it was.
For that program.
Georgia was a 2.5 point favorite in last year's title game.
So they were too.
And won outright, and they covered.
Yeah. But I thought that was a huge blow for UNLV, because now it's like, you're already at this position where it's like everybody has a job, so the only way you're gonna entice somebody to take the job is like overpaying them, basically. You know what I mean? You lost Bobby Petrino to Texas A&M, and I think it's gonna be a difficult position for UNLV at this point.
Yeah, they might have to look in like what Washington State did, look in the lower divisions and grab a high scoring OC from like a FCS school.
Or a head coach from an FCS school.
Yeah, head coach, or they could try to grab like a Mountain West or AAC type OC, one of those guys.
Yeah, they got to
Give them
do
a big
something
pay raise.
because I think because they're returning a lot of talent, dude. So I think they have some talent. They're 11th in the Mountain West in recruiting rankings right now, so not very good. But like the facilities are here, the boosters are here, the alumni's here. Like everybody wants this program to be better. So like that's why Arroyo lost his job, and Arroyo turned this program around. I mean, when he took this program over, they were a 1-win team.
Yeah, one and two win team.
So, I mean, he turned it around. It's just it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, the expectations got bigger, and he couldn't live up to them. Plus, you got to have expectations. They play in Allegiant Stadium, so they
Yep.
can't just be out there just getting blown out. They got to compete for Mountain West titles, especially like you said. If they have the booster support, alumni support, and they have the facilities, they're looking at themselves as trying to put themselves in the upper echelon of the Mountain West. And hey, it could pay off and get an invite to the Pac-12 because they have to realign. They're going to need markets. Vegas is a very viable market if they
Yep.
could get a team in the Pac-12. So I know UNLV start winning, they could step up and play with the big boys.
Yep. Um, but this is a huge blow for them, dude, because now I like am looking at the team reevaluating like what this program's gonna look like next year. And it's like if they have another losing season, it's like, okay, like how long is this turnaround gonna be? And like they didn't give Marcus Arroyo very long. So how much time are they gonna give
I think the next guy has to get at least 3 to 4 years.
I don't know if he'll get that long, dude.
Well, Broomfield's going to be gone after next year, so definitely they're going to have to rebuild because they're going to need to have to break in a new quarterback, and we got to see what they do with the offense. Now, I don't think Cliff Kingsbury is going to fall that far to go from being a head coach to being the OC at UNLV, even though they probably would make him one of the highest paid assistants in the country.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
don't think he's gonna go there. But I mean,
yeah,
what
anything's
positions are gonna be
possible.
open? You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just a tough look for UNLV, dude. The fire Marcus Arroyo after turning it around, and then you hire Barry Odom, brings in Bobby Petrino. You lose Bobby Petrino in a month, dude. It's just not a very good
Yeah.
look, dude.
See, that's the thing I don't like about these coaches. Now they could just have to you sign a contract and you go on a month later and you went out on the road and promised these kids you was gonna be here. And Lord
Yep,
knows how many kids or transfers were looking at UNLV because Bobby Petrino was there. Now they just not gonna consider them at all.
yep. What do you think about Bobby Petrino to A&M though? Like from the A&M perspective?
It could work out if Bobby Petrino actually gets to run his offense. Now you see, at his height, Bobby Petrino was coaching Lamar Jackson, and you seen what that offense was. So even though they don't have a Lamar Jackson in Texas A&M, I do expect that offense to be better under Bobby Petrino if he gets to run his system and not a diet or a version of that old ass archaic system that Jimbo Fisher been running and swore up and down that they're going to win titles with. But I think Jimbo had to do this. His seat is warmed up. You can tell the fans are pissed off. You
Yep.
bring in the best recruiting class of all time and can't even win 5 games. So that'll change a lot. I'm surprised the defensive coordinator didn't get fired, even though they was playing a little better towards the end of the year. But I think that whole staff should have been 86 and he needed to build it from the ground up. But
I
when you
mean,
see stuff like this, he's nearing the end of his run if they don't start getting better results because you've seen USC keep doing it with Clay Helps and firing his assistant, bringing in that assistant, three O line coaches in 3 different years. So I think once you start getting such and so much of turnover on your staff and you're not getting fired, then you become the problem. and you the one end up packing your bags next. So I think if not this year, after this year, that'll be a make or break year for Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M.
Agreed. Man, how about Alabama? Number one recruiting class so far.
It's not. I'm not surprised. The rich get richer. Since Saban has built up the cachet that even if they don't run a national championship on the field, he's always going to get 4 and 5 star talent. He signed 2 QBs. Now we got to see how
Yep.
fast they can develop. I think both of them enrolling early because he got to replace the best QB in Alabama history by a mile, which is Bryce Young. And the 2 guys that they have on campus right now, we don't really know what Ty Simpson is because we haven't really seen him play like that. But we know Jalen Milroe can run, but he can't throw for shit. So that's not going to help their offense against better teams. So I don't know. They could be it
Two
could be
four
Ty
star.
Simpson or it could be a true freshman starting at quarterback next year for Alabama. But as far as their recruiting, you know, the kids know they're gonna go to Bama, they're gonna get developed, they're gonna play in the biggest games, they're gonna be in the national spotlight, and 80-90% of the time you're going to be in the college football playoff and you're going to be on that national stage. So why not go to Bama and then on top of that, if your ultimate goal is NFL, they've been putting out more NFL draft picks than pretty much any school in the last decade. So he's
Yeah.
built it up. You can't knock him. Now NIL does play a part because some of his classes hasn't been as dominant as they've been.
That's why I brought it up because it was hella funny because last year he's talking about, oh well, all these schools are just paying players, and then now he has the number one class, so now he's not going to complain.
Yeah, he's not going to complain now. Especially they probably opened up their NIL pockets a little more too. So as far as that goes, but honestly, I just think if you are using NIL as your main recruiting tool, then you're doomed because we know that. Look at the schools that used it. Only one of them really had a good season, and
Yep.
that's it. And that was Tennessee, and they could have been in the playoff if their quarterback doesn't get hurt. But A&M, Miami, uh, I think Oregon has more of a collective now too. They raked up during the early signing period. They did have some big flips though, and they did.
Yeah, they
I
dropped.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that 5 star receiver signed with him too. I think Jerrion Dickey ended up signing with him, but
Yeah, he did
at the end
sign.
of the day, it all comes down to coaching and developing players, and that's where it's gonna always matter most on the field. Now you can promise a kid some NIL money, but if he get to that university and they ain't winning and he ain't playing that much and he feel like I'm
Gone.
not getting developed the way I need to, they're gonna hit that portal. And the portal is a great equalizer because you've seen what it's been doing so far in college football.
Yep. I think the crazy thing about the NIL too is like you said, like a lot of these high school kids can get promised a lot, and then they get to school, right? And a lot of these kids expect to play right away now, you know. And if they don't play right away and they're not winning, they can just jump in the portal whenever they want. So it's almost like, do you want to risk offering that to a high school kid that can literally just turn around and leave? Because most college football players don't contribute until they're like sophomores, but mainly juniors, right?
Especially on a team of that magnitude on that level.
Yep.
Like it's rare you see a true freshman or a true sophomore being the best player on a team like Alabama or Georgia or Ohio State. Or 9 times out of 10, those are junior and senior led teams with
Yep.
most of the talent being upperclassmen.
Yep.
But I just think at the end of the day, I'm happy these kids are getting paid, getting a slice of the pie. They should get more, honestly, because they bring way more to the table than what these universities actually spend out of their pocket to make sure that their programs are running correctly. But that'll continue to work itself out. But NIL, transfer portal, this player empowerment movement after all those years of not being basically treated like indentured servants, I'm happy for
Being treated like indentured servants. All right, man. This was gonna be a quick episode, anyways. We only had one game to talk about. Starting next week, we're gonna talk more NBA, NHL, college basketball, whatever's on the next day, basically. But man, I had a ton of fun talking college football. We'll also keep in touch with college football, kind of updating big news,
them.
recruiting, all that
Recruiting
stuff.
got next signing day, we'll keep up with the transfers like
Yep.
Carson Steele, the nation's number 8 running back, committed to UCLA. Well, Russian leader, top 10, committed to UCLA today. So that's a good pickup for them because they just lost Zach Charbonnet. So, teams are willing and dealing and trying to add the best they can. But these next couple months and even after spring ball is really going to show what ton of talent is going to hop in that portal and might have a new home.
Yep. Well, so we'll see. We'll be learning a lot. We'll be keeping our ears to the ground, to the streets, trying to get up to date information. So we thank y'all for hanging out with us throughout this college football season. It was a ton of fun. Let's get some quick best bets on this game, though.
Let's go, y'all.
I think we're both on the same side. I think we're both on kind of in agreement here. Irv, what you got?
Yeah, my best bet is TCU plus 12.5, 13, 13.5.
Yep.
I don't think this game it honestly come down to the last drive and a field goal like it did against Ohio State and Georgia.
Yep. I agree. We're both on TCU plus the points. Lean the over. Cannot wait for this game on Monday. Thank you, everybody, for tapping in with us. Like I said, thank you for hanging out with us all college football season. We'll be back on Sunday to recap NFL Week 18 and look ahead to the playoffs. We also might have some more clarification on the suspended Bills and Cincinnati Bengals game. Damar Hamlin seems to be doing better, so that's good news. So everybody enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the national championship. Enjoy the FCS championship between South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits, and the North Dakota State Bison. Yes, it will. Sunday morning before NFL. So I'm looking forward to that one too. But thank y'all so much, man. We could not do it without y'all watching and listening. So thank you for hanging out with us. We'll see y'all on Sunday. Have a great weekend. Let's go.